Thank you for thank you for that video. Where are you? Let me see. I was wondering how she was going to put all that footage together, and it looked great. Anyway, I have 3 points that I want to say in 5 to 7 minutes, hopefully. Let me know if it goes on too long. But basically, I know that you guys know that you all support going to Cambodia, because this is, I believe, the 3rd time that you guys got to go, right? Okay. So this was my first time going. I actually didn't know where Cambodia was until the day before I flew over there. I just didn't, I was too busy, didn't get a chance to look it up. So then I found out where it was, and there were some problems with me trying to get there with my passport being lost and everything. But what I wanted to share, so I thought, what can I say to you all who already know about the people there and what's going on there? But I thought I would just share one of the things that really inspired me when I went was seeing Joyner, the missionary that you support, Joyner and her mom. They are really, for me to see with my own eyes of people who are doing literally what God says in His Word is to go out and make disciples of all the nations. They pour into the people that are there. I mean, she knows the language fluently. They can communicate with them, which is something I could not do. I don't know not even one word in Khmer. So I was just amazed that she knew English. Of course she knows Korean because she's Korean, but then she knew that language and they knew her well. So I was impressed by how, because we didn't know their language, we had to rely on the translators, which were kids. They're the main person that you saw talking with the microphone in the video on the clips is an 11th grader. He was really the one who led there to his own people. So every time we said something in English, he would translate in their language and get their attention and get things going. He's in 11th grade. That just really blew my mind when I realized who was there helping, who was there that knew the Lord and was growing and investing and leading their own people or children. And so I asked Joyner, how did she come to find them? How do you charge up this youth to want to share? Well, they just do that because they love the Lord and they really believe that God is with them and God is there. And so they come on Saturday, they meet on Saturday for 3 hours to be taught by Joyner and her mom and the pastor there, and to be taught the truth of the Bible, the Sunday school lesson, and then on Sunday, those youth that were taught teach their own people. So they're given the opportunity, and there is a need for them to rise up and share what they know with those around them. And so that made me think about me. We live in a land of plenty. We can get whatever we want. I mean, we have access to everything, really, here in South Korea and in my country of the United States. And I thought, what are we doing with the resources that we have, whatever it is? Are we using it to share with those who don't have what we have? So that was really one of the thoughts that sticks with me since I've been back. And then I wanted to share that God is everywhere. Even you couldn't really see it in that video there, but maybe you could have saw, maybe you noticed it in other videos or other footage that you may have seen. But for example, that second village that we went to, where we were able to walk around on the ground because it wasn't flooded, there was trash all over the place and stuff on the ground, sharp things on the ground, and these kids don't have shoes. Most of them weren't wearing shoes, and they're just running around. I had on flip-flops, and as I was walking to go back up into the church, I stepped on something sharp with my flip-flops on, and it poked my foot. And I these kids are running around like nothing. I mean, that's all they know. So I was just, at one point I was just thinking, God loves them, and God sees them there too. That's why he sent people there who know him and love him to just share his truth. If it was up to me, maybe I would try and rescue them out of that situation, but that's impossible. But what God did was even better. He put in us his truth, and he told us to go out and share. So I just want to encourage you to think about that and do that. So I guess my way of sharing is on last Monday, I hosted in my home an in-person Cambodia talk where I just shared with those that wanted to hear and was able to come on Monday. 10 ladies showed up, and they were there listening and asking questions about my time there. And I just want to share that at the end of it, I asked the person next to me if she would pray and close us out, because it actually ran over longer than I thought. Actually, the whole thing was different than I thought it would be. I wasn't as organized as I thought, and yet God used that time to just connect us together. And they were asking great questions about that place and about what the missionaries were doing. But so the person next to me, she actually is from Kenya. And I asked her to pray, and she said, I was going to say something, but then I thought, no, but since you asked me to pray, I'm going to go ahead and say it. And I said, okay. And she said, when I was home, living in Kenya, we weren't as poor as the people that are there in Cambodia, but we had struggled, and at one point we were homeless, she said. And she said during that time that we were homeless, my mom had my siblings and I, and we were out, and there was a missionary that came, a white man that came. She said, I don't remember his name, I just know that he came, and he gave us a Christmas cake, she said. My mom couldn't afford anything, so we were so happy to have this cake. And I just remember that, and she said it just really touched me, and I always thought about that guy and his cake. And she said to me, well, to all of us that were there, but to me, she said, you may have thought that what you did was little and small, but it matters. And she said, now look at me. I'm a missionary here in South Korea. She's from Kenya. She's a missionary here in South Korea, and she teaches the children's church at one of the churches here. Isn't that amazing how God works? He all we need to do, we don't have to develop a big plan. He has a plan. So throw away your plan and what you think it's supposed to look like, and just keep going back to him and be obedient. And then he takes what you give, what you offer back to him, and he just does things with it that you probably didn't even think about or know, because it's his plan. And so I'll just share that, one of my thoughts was when I came back, because Chris and I led with the music, and I'm teaching songs, and every day, people start to get tired after a while because you're doing the same thing over and over, and it's hot, and, but I thought, you just never know when today might be the day when something in their mind may click, and they realize that God loves them, and he's there. So I just gave my all. You never know. And I sang loudly because we're out and adults are around. You never know. You never know. Even here today, you never know. So 2 weeks later, after I came back, I was able to get a video message from one of the college leaders that was helping us. She has Facebook, so I'm able to still communicate with her. She gave me a video message of them in their church that Sunday singing, He is God. Wow. We're not there anymore, but they're still using what we gave there. So that was encouraging for me, because when you leave a place, you wonder, did it matter? Did it make a difference? Well, I feel like when God is involved, it always matters. When God is involved, a difference is always made. So I encourage you to do whatever it is God is pushing you, urging you, putting in you to do, or to go, or to say. Just be obedient in Him. Thank you.